my way from misery to happiness today. I'm on my way from misery to happiness today. I'm on my way to what I want from this world. And years from now, you'll make it to the next world. And everything that you receive up yonder is what you give to me the day I wonder. I took a right turning yesterday. Yeah, I took a right turning yesterday. I took the road that brought me to your hometown. I took the bus to streets that I could walk down.
Welcome to episode 5. We've got a dodgy voice, I apologise for that, but we'll persevere anyway. We'll kick straight off with the news because it's about 5 months since we did the first 4 episodes, and in that time I've still been scouring the internet, the various auction sites, to see if we can pick up any bargains. And in one of the earlier videos I said that this cream pickup was going to have quite a few variations, and lo and behold I managed to find another one, so that brings the total to 4 that I have. This one features the I'll tell you what, let's unpack it. I've still got the sellotape on, it's not been unboxed. Right, this one it runs with the later type base, and as you may be able to see there, it has a tailpipe, so it's obviously not one of the Oxford versions. It runs on the WXX registration and sports a painted vent panel and silver wheels. So as I say, that brings 4 combinations that you can get in this model. As I said earlier, I think there's more to be had, so I'm going to still keep scouring, but yeah, that's one of the new additions. As Oxford as a company have started re-releasing a lot of these models, we discussed in the last video how the base plates have changed. Now unfortunately, when you're looking on the auction sites, sometimes you don't get a photograph of the base, so how else can you spot that you're looking at an Oxford version of a model, and if there's no branding to be seen, i.e. there's no photographs of the boxes or any other clues? Well, there is one, because there's yet another change they've made, and I don't know if you can see it, but it involves the headlights. Now previously, if I show you, I'll show you one of these blue ones, I don't know if you can see it. The headlamps have a proper bezel and are clear. Take it, the camera is focusing in on that. Now obviously, as probably cost cutting, as we've run into before, what they've done now is they've done away with the bezel and they've painted. It's just the headlamp is no longer clear, it's painted on them. So if you just got a front view of a model and you spot that it's got the painted headlamps, it's fairly certain it's going to be one of the Oxford releases. So that's just another way of telling if you've got limited photographs. If you've got the thing in your hand, it's always a lot easier, but you can't always get to swap meet, so the internet is the next best thing, and certainly there are bargains to be had. In the last video we briefly discussed the dark green Land Rover pickup with the frames on, and I did mention that they were available with post office telephones written on the door. Now, I'd only seen these in America, and when you considered you probably have to add customs charges on upon import, I was very reluctant to send for it. Anyway, I found one that was reasonably cheap and took the risk, and it duly arrived, no customs to be paid. It just sailed straight through, and so we've finally got our hands on one of the post office telephones. The fact that the other two models were ones that I hadn't got, or variations to the ones that I did have, made the deal even sweeter. When it's arrived, it is the Oxford reissues. Now, that one and the red one all bear the new base plate, and we've discussed that, so we know what to look for on that. This one has retained the original base plate, but what they've done is where the Hongwell legend was, it's been overfilled with like coarse plastic grains, so it's no longer legible. So whether this is in transition and they have a load of bases for them to use up, and then will eventually go on to receive the revised base, we'll have to keep an eye out on that one. We'll be discussing these in a later video, and indeed we'll be discussing all three of these in more detail, but we'll come to those points when we actually take a closer look at them. But they're three new acquisitions. I think there were about £17 for the three, and there was about £12.50 postage, something like that. But now we've got it. Very pleased. Three usable models. Sometimes I would consider buying it just to get one of the three, but this is a bonus. All three will go into the collection, so happy with that. So that about rounds the news up, so we'll get on to the subjects we're going to cover today. We'll just rearrange everything, but we're going to be looking at the soft top Land Rovers, one Army and one ambulance, in the blue of course. So we'll just set up and we'll be back in a minute. Right, we're now going to take a look at the blue ambulance Land Rovers. Now, there are two distinct livery differences, and I'm sure you can spot it straight off, and that is the size of the logos on the side. One's large, one's small. So we'll start off with the large ones. Now, here we have what we've learnt from the previous videos we can apply. So obviously it's an early model because it's got the painted detail on the bottom, the Hongwell sign where we would expect it. It features the GPX registration and painted vent panel. It also sporting a clear rear window, and the wheels are type A, the early wheels, so that's everything you would expect from an early model, one of the better quality versions that they've put out in this. Nice little model, not a lot else you can really say. It's there should be two versions of this with the large logo. The other one I would expect to have the lesser detail on the bottom and unpainted vent panel. Not seen one yet, on the lookout for one, but I've seen a photograph of one, so they're out there somewhere. So again, examine what you may have or what you propose to buy. There could be even more variations. It's been around quite a long time, this one, so worth keeping an eye out for. The second version of it has the small logo. The logo doesn't extend beyond the top panel. I think it was probably changed to make ease of printing, because these are in two parts, top and bottom, and they were having to print across, and it must have made lining the two up difficult if they were done at actually two different stages. This one sports the silver vent. It has the WXX registration. The later type wheels, unpainted base, so it would appear from the information that I have been able to find that this one has never come with the painted running gear. It seems to have been a later version than the other one. So the difference is you can expect to revolve around the window. One's painted and one will be clear. Vent panel differences on that. This is the sort of area that you're going to find the changes. The wheels will probably always be Type B wheels, as this is a later model. But we know of 4, so there's two of those, old and new, basically. New, slightly different. So that's those two to look out for. Again, it's possible there are other ones out there. I would imagine Oxford will get round to releasing it. I would think it'll be in this version because of probably the issues with that lining that logo up. But just keep an eye out. Might surprise us, bring that one, but probably unlikely. Right, we'll move on to the Army Land Rover. Two distinct versions in this one. If we look, that's an early model from what we know. If you look, the camouflage involves orange elements on the side, on both sides actually. This they seem to have dropped. They've done away with adding the orange in favour of all green livery. But if you also notice, the window arrangement has changed on the canopy. Whereas these early ones had clear windows and see-through, the later ones adopted a different window pattern and went to painted windows. Just try and get you that. Tell you what, make life easier for you. It's better. There. You see, they've painted the windows. There's still the framing for the old ones, but they're actually filled in and painted on the back. Now, this one is one of the Oxford re-releases. We know that because, well, the box tells us, but failing that, no tailpipe, etc., revised base. So we're pretty confident that that one, even without the packaging, we could identify what that one was. Right, these the earlier version comes with the very early better quality design. Nice vehicle, really well turned out, and then one that's a little bit later, a little bit less detailed, but nevertheless quite a nice vehicle. The changes around these will be on the same lines. We seem to think there are at least 2 or 3 versions of this out there. I have seen a photograph of one where on the front here the green, the darker green, was emitted from the front round the headlamps. Now that could have just been a one-off production error, or there could be quite a few out there. I've only ever seen the photograph, I've not seen one on any of the sale sites, so they are quite rare. I would suggest maybe limited to a very few that came out, but worth looking out for. It's the lighter green that's just applied on the front, maybe a batch or just one missed going through that stage of printing in the factory, and managed to get right through to being released without it being spotted. So there you have the Army Land Rovers. I should imagine these are quite popular with the war diorama people, etc. But they don't look out of place on your model railway or such things. As I say, Cararama have re-released that one, so you can also see that the headlamp mod has applied as well. They've just painted the headlamps as opposed to moulding them in full. So hope you found what you've learnt today of interest. I hope you're finding it easier to buy stuff on eBay, identify what you're buying. As I say, just keep your eyes out for the bargains. They're always going to be popular, these. Nobody's going to get rich collecting die-cast Land Rovers, I wouldn't have thought, but some of the rarer pieces may attain a lot better value, but you're going to have to wait a long time to see any major returns, I would have thought. But it's the fun of collecting them, and that's what it's all about. So that'll do it for this episode. We'll in the next round we'll stick with these soft tops, and we'll take a look at the Fire Brigade ones, and a mountain rescue one that they released. So we'll see you in the next episode. So for now, happy collecting.
I'm on my way from misery to happiness to thee. I'm on my way from misery to happiness.